Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match for the heavyweight championship of the world. Are you ready? Are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hello everybody, Roadcraft Nottingham here. Here we go. We've got the main two rivals, the V4 Tuono and the Speed Triple 1050. This is Ken. Say hello, Ken. Hi. This is Ken from Bike Talk School of Motorcycling in Nottingham. He's bought the Speed Triple because it came up at the right price, and we just thought, let's put them against each other and see how we go. So basically, Ken's going to be riding mine to start with. I'm going to be riding Ken's and giving my first impressions, and then we'll just see how we go from there. So let's go. Oh, straight away. it's a lot more comfortable than mine is. Clutch feels a little bit heavier and shorter. Okay, let's pick it up. It's nice and smooth. It's definitely a more comfortable riding position, there's no doubt about it. What I'm going to do is after we pull over, I'm going to be asking Ken about his first impressions and see what he says. I've got a funny feeling he's going to say the same thing. I mean, the seat is absolutely rock hard on the Tuono. It's very comfortable on this one, a little bit soft. There's no wind protection like there is on the Tuono as well, same thing, no wind protection. I haven't noticed anything problematic about the gearbox either. Just go down the gear. Yeah, it's a nice gearbox. The dash is laid out quite nicely too. I could certainly do a lot more miles on this. The mirrors seem to work nicely. You can still see some elbows on it, but you can see it on the Tuono as well. Nice little induction noise there when you shut off. I can imagine this sounding really nice with a pair of cams on it, like Arrows or something, or Akrapovics or Akropovich. Gearbox is nice and tight. On the Aprilia, because it's got the quick shifter and the clutch slipper fitted, you can hear a lot more mechanical noise. So let's just pull in first of all, and we'll just have an interim debrief. Right then, Ken, what did you think of the riding position on the Tuono?
I think it felt a bit better because you got the handlebar raisers on. Okay. Before, I thought you were a little bit far over. I mean, it feels like my position in there. Right. I don't know whether it's something I'm dreaming or not.
Because you rode it before I put the risers on, didn't you?
And I feel that them bars are better there. Just they only come up slightly, but I think they are better. Okay. And that seat is like sitting on a bit of chipboard, and I think that's what makes the suspension feel even harder than what it is.
That makes sense.
But the smoothness, the one thing that I've never been on a bike, that gear change so smooth. That is really.
It is a good gearbox, isn't it?
Fantastic, fantastic.
So what about the engine smoothness and things as well? I mean, how does it compare?
Smooth, that pulls away just when you want it.
Yeah.
You couldn't guess what gear you're in, I wouldn't have thought.
No.
You know, it was something you'd have to get used to.
Do you not find the gearbox and the engine a little bit sharper than the Triumph.
That's a triple, and that's what I say, and that's
it's a V4.
Yeah, V4. So that's a triple. So it does seem there a little bit. Whereas that seems a little bit smoother coming up, I think.
Well, I was saying whilst I was riding it, that is really sweet.
And it comes out. You can feel that you can get the power on that a little bit early as well, coming out of the bed.
Okay, round 2. Let's take a trip to the high jellier. Let's see what it's like in traffic. Yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother at slow speed. Yeah, it's definitely easier to ride at slow speed. On the other side of that though, I didn't buy the Tuono to go through town and to work on. I bought it because I was getting bored of bikes because of my Pan-European being good for instructing but not for playing on. So I just bought it as a toy. So what I think we're going to be able to do is when we get out onto some open roads, just open them up a little bit and just see how this bike performs. Now it's very smooth, nice fuel injection mapping there. I know Ken hasn't mentioned the mapping on mine yet. I'm just wondering if he's going to mention how it doesn't like holding a steady throttle. Unless that's just me that doesn't like holding a steady throttle. Okay, it's got some pull on it. It hasn't got that swear your face off pull that the Aprilia's got. Just double press your starter button. Okay? That's giving you another 40 horsepower. Now this definitely needs some cans. Okay, it's quite a rough road and it seems to be taking the corners quite nicely. It has got a lovely overrun burble. I can just picture that with the exhaust on. Sorry people, I know I'm going on about the exhaust, but I've got a feeling this is going to convert the bike. I am enjoying the bike, but it's not giving me that that I get on the Aprilia. You know, I feel like giggling like a school kid on the Aprilia. Where this is just it's a cracking bike, but it is a good all-rounder. You know, I know straight away now, if I could take anything from this bike, I would have the comfort. I think that's it. It doesn't seem to be handling as well as a Tuono. It's going a little bit out of shape. That's not enjoying this at all. Okay, let's see what the brakes are like. Oh yes, nice. Great stoppies. Now I think the suspension's a little bit soft on this. Maybe it needs setting up, I'm not sure, but it was certainly letting me know it wasn't too happy around those corners. Okay, we just had that second trip. Right then Ken, what did you think of that, matey?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. The power was awesome. If you didn't know what you was doing, I think you could get into a lot of bother. I mean,
I'd agree with that.
We were just coming round. I looked down and, you know, was going near the bang mark.
So on those sweeping bends on the last couple of miles, how was the handling on it?
Beautiful, beautiful, and smooth. If you get the revs up,
yeah,
it tends to be smoother. If you try and get around them in top too low revs,
yeah,
it's a bit lumpy, if you like.
Yeah, I agree with that. You've got to keep it above a certain amount of revs, haven't you?
More rider error than the bike error.
Okay.
But it just ate them bends up. Beautiful.
Okay, I noticed on yours that was going out of shape.
Right.
You know, a legal speed limit plus VAT.
Yeah.
I noticed when you're going around there, the front end wasn't liking it.
Right.
I don't know whether you've noticed. It's a little bit soft. You've not opened it up yet. This is your first ride, really, isn't it? Yeah. Definitely the Tuono on the faster speed handling. That is absolutely planted, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, definitely.
It may need setting up on the suspension. There's a possibility, so we can have a look at that later on. So
again, I've got to go back to the clutch. The clutch. I'll not say the clutch. I hardly used it.
Yeah.
You can come up there. I just got ready to change up and touched the gear lever. It was in gear and it's gone.
It's
and
there.
it was as smooth as though you've used the clutch.
Yes.
It's great. It's got to be the best gear changing bike I've actually been on.
Lovely. So at the higher speeds, you were impressed with it?
Yeah. Can't fault it.
Lovely.
To be honest, it belongs on a track. It does. It's got that much power and handling. It does belong on a track. It's fantastic.
Okay, we're just going to swap back now. We're going to put Ken on his baby. Make sure the GoPro's recording. Yep. And then we're just going to follow this road on and carry on. Now we're back on our own bikes and just see how we feel. And Ken's going to be leading. Yeah, straight away you can just see that this bike is smoother, but the fuel injection mapping isn't quite as good as the Triumph, and the seat isn't anywhere near as comfortable as the Triumph, but the sound on this is just phenomenal. That's why I want to try that Triumph with those cans, because I think it'll also look nice. We're looking at him getting rid of those standard exhaust and putting a decent tail tidy on as well. Oh, it's so different. Ken mentioned earlier on about the Tuono just being for the track, and I can see what it means, but it's also a fun road bike as well. And yes, the seat is a little bit hard, but I'm used to it now. I think I've grown my hard seat bum cheeks. But I do agree with him on the gearbox front as well. I mean, the gearbox on this Tuono is just tremendous. It is the lightest, sweetest gearbox I've ever used. Let's put myself in a nice reactive gear. You can actually see the suspension on the Triumph bouncing. Where on this it's just rock steady. It's not even trying to give up on me. Right then, Ken, you've now experienced fast bumpy bends on your bike. Just take your helmet off and we'll have a chat about it. What did you reckon to that then?
You're right, it does tend to go away a bit. I think it needs stiffening up.
Yeah, it looks like it.
It does. I mean, coming round, I couldn't get into position properly or anything.
I could see it.
Bouncing.
You could actually see your back end really squatting and bouncing on the bends, and it was doing it with me on, so it's not just because you're a big fella.
Yeah.
It's because I think the suspension's not set right.
I can get that set up.
Definitely.
That long that guy at Donington sets it up, but you can't get you can't put it where you want to put it.
No.
Because when I was trying to come over to the left to come,
you see it wallowing,
round,
can't you?
It was just going out to move back in.
Yeah.
So and I didn't feel that on that.
No.
But
I actually said whilst I was riding, I bet you Ken picks up on it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it.
But it's fun.
Yes.
It's fun. Yeah, and it's something I can get used to.
It's better than the 675 then.
Definitely better than the 675.
Ken used to have a 675, and he was just saying it's just too small for him. He's an experienced rider, and 675, to be honest with you, is more of a beginner intermediate bike, really, isn't it?
Like you say, if it was doing it with your weight and it's got my 12 stone on it, my 15.5 stone on it, it would have made. But I did find the bars a bit hard to hold on to sometimes. Over and all, yes. Okay, Ross, I will do a swap with you. You've been pestering me all morning.
Well, let's go.
Swap.
Would you agree that comfort is the Triumph?
Yeah, the comfort's good on.
Fuel injection mapping at slow speed, the Triumph.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you think the Triumph would be better on?
I think the power's smoother.
Okay.
The power's smoother.
Will this just kick a little bit? What about when this was in road mode? Did you notice much difference? Because we did switch it to sport, didn't we?
Slightly, but it was still.
But the delivery on that, I think it's because it's less power. Yeah. It spreads better.
Less power on the triple, and it does spread better.
Yeah, I'll give it that one.
So if you're out for like just pootling around, that would be great. But if you want to all it race on, you've got to have that one. I would like to try again when I've got the suspension set up on that, because that is a big factor.
Yeah.
You know, it was bouncing me all over the road. I couldn't keep to where I wanted to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With that, I could. It was like I was moving around the road to shoot the bike.
What's your honest personal opinion on the actual looks of the two bikes?
I do like the 6.7. I do like the 1050 better.
You do? You like the looks of the 1050 better? Okay.
But I like the handling of that bike.
Yes.
That handling of that bike and the gear change and the clutch. I'd advise anybody to go out and have a test ride on one of these.
So out of the two bikes then, bearing in mind that the Triumph is £3,000 cheaper, would you say that the better overall value for money bike is the Triumph? Or would you think the extra few £1,000s is worth it for the traction control, the wheelie control?
If you can afford it, that is worth it. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I found this as well. My opinion on these two bikes is they're both fantastic. You can't take it away. That red, personally, on that Triumph is the best colour I've seen. It's lovely. The front end, the headlights, I still can't get round. It looks like Dame Edna Everage or Wally.
The front end looks better with the screen on.
That screen definitely makes the front end look better. So if I could take anything from the Triumph and put it onto the Aprilia, it'd be the seat. And also the fuel injection mapping at slow speed. They are right, it is a better town bike. Yeah, I actually found myself having more smiles and fun on the Tuono on the road. And for me, already having a Pan-European, to me, that is a really nice gap filler. Where if you only have one bike, and it has to be just one bike for everything, going to work, etc., probably the Triumph. Would you agree with that, Ken? Yeah. Lovely. Right, everybody, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment, and be interesting to hear what you have to say about it.
See what that